Mark Rogers TV on the college football coaching carousel in the Big Ten that will most likely bring Paul Chryst to the University of Wisconsin. Chryst at Pitt right now, 19-19. He's gone 10-13 in conference play, so that's one season in the Big East, and then since then in the ACC. So 3 games under 500 in conference play. Chryst has not necessarily blown away the ACC. 3-5 against ranked teams. But let's not necessarily judge Paul Chryst on the record. Again, 19-19 at Pitt. Pitt does not have the resources, the facilities, or the recruiting base, or the tradition or prestige, the money to return to the glory days of the 1970s and 1980s. No more Dan Marinos or Tony Dorsetts or national championships at Pitt. They are what they are. 6-6, 7-5, going to minor bowl games. Think about it. Todd Graham, Chryst's predecessor at Pitt, went 6-6 in his one season at Pitt. Got snatched up by Arizona State. Now he's contending for Pac-12 championships. So Chryst, again, 19-19 at Pitt. He's an offensive mind. That's his side of the football. He's been a tight ends coach at Wisconsin, a Wisconsin man of sorts, also a tight end coach in the NFL with several teams. He was the offensive coordinator under first Barry Alvarez and then Brett Bielema at Wisconsin from 2005 to 11. So 7 seasons in Madison as offensive coordinator. His teams were number 8, 5, 25, 47, 50, 26, and 14 nationally in yardage and points produced. So he turned in 2 teams that finished in the top 10 in the country in points produced. 3 in the top 20, 4 in the top 25. He had a couple down years at 47 and 50. Still not horrible among the 125 FBS schools. 105th passing this season at Pitt in yardage per game, 16th rushing. Sound familiar, Wisconsin? 105th passing, 16th rushing. Of course, much like Melvin Gordon with the Badgers, that Pitt team led by James Conner, 1,675 yards and 24 touchdowns, primarily a rushing team. They did produce big point totals against Miami, Syracuse, North Carolina, and Duke down the stretch, 30-plus points per game against all those teams. The defense was pretty marginal despite a few outstanding players like an Aaron Donald a couple seasons ago. So coming back for Chryst offensively, it starts at quarterback, of course. Even in this offense, it starts at quarterback. Joel Stavi, a senior this season. This kid's regressed. Chryst is going to have to do a coaching job with Joel Stavi because Wisconsin's not going to contend for a Big Ten championship with Joel Stavi completing 53% of his passes, 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions this season. And he made most of his work against the lesser teams. Against Ohio State, Stavi in the Big Ten championship, yes, he was overwhelmed by the pass rush. The wide receivers at Wisconsin, subpar for a top 15 program, but still, 17 of 43, 3 interceptions against Ohio State. And in Wisconsin's big wins against its chief rivals and main opponents in the Western Division of the Big Ten down the stretch, Stavi threw it 11, 14, and 18 times against Minnesota, Iowa, and Nebraska. Tanner McAvoy going to be a senior as well next season in 2015. He is not the answer. 58% completion percentage, 5 touchdowns, 6 picks. The difference there, Stavi, the pocket passer, and Tanner McAvoy, a guy that really Gary Anderson wanted to be the starting quarterback coming from Utah State to Wisconsin. He loves mobile quarterbacks, i.e. Chucky Keaton with the Aggies of Utah State. Tanner McAvoy is a guy that can get out of the pocket. They can run the option with him, but not a typical Wisconsin quarterback, and didn't throw it well enough or was not dynamic enough as a runner to warrant playing him after an 8 for 24 start against LSU in the opener for 50 yards. He played against Western Illinois, and then his playing time decreased after that. The future for Wisconsin probably going to rest on somebody incoming in 2016. You got a 3 or 4 star, depending on your service, player in Austin Kavensis. He's out of Utah. He holds 10 state records there at Utah, including 89 touchdowns accounted for passing. Again, they're going to have to up the ante recruiting wide receivers and quarterbacks at Wisconsin. And maybe it starts with this Utah kid who's an early enrollee for 2015, and maybe he's going to put the heat on Stave and Tanner McAvoy for the starting position. Melvin Gordon gone. Corey Clement, a capable running back, ran for almost 900 yards and 9 touchdowns as a sophomore this season, so he still has 2 years in Madison. Kenzel Doe, who never really turned out as a wide receiver, more of a kickoff return specialist. Again, speed to burn out of Doe, but he never turned out. He's gone next season. Sam Arneson, the tight end, after a pretty productive season this year, 27 receptions, he's gone. Alex Erickson emerged as the best wide receiver, the #1 target as a sophomore, 51 catches, 3 touchdowns. Wisconsin's got it over Pitt in a number of areas. The home crowd, the stadium, the fan support, the resources, the fan base, the alumni, the tradition, way over Pitt. So this is a good move for Chryst. Again, he's familiar with Barry Alvarez, his athletic director, who's going to coach the Badgers against Auburn in the Outback Bowl. The issue that has come to light in recent weeks, specifically concerning Wisconsin, now that Gary Anderson has moved on to Oregon State, is the pay of the assistant coaches. You would think with the money that Wisconsin brings in as a football program and powerhouse, again, I call them a top 15 team. They're not an elite program at the top with Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, those schools. But Wisconsin, based on their track record, built under Alvarez in the past 20 to 25 years, a top 15 program, but they're not paying the assistant coaches. 10th in the Big Ten, and the Big Ten not known for paying assistant coaches either. So Wisconsin needs to pour some money into assistant coaches to bring in a quality head coach. Is Chryst one? We shall see. Again, an offensive mind who likes to run it downhill like they like to do at Madison, Wisconsin. And then also he likes to throw it on the play action, but he is a run-first guy. He took that from Wisconsin and applied the same principles there at Pitt. So it appears to be Paul Chryst going to Wisconsin. Would love to hear what you have to say about Wisconsin football, the Gary Anderson move to Oregon State, the plight of the situation of Wisconsin football and bringing in Paul Chryst, and some of the positives and negatives of the program. Let's talk about it right here on Mark Rogers TV.